thinking about what am I going to do tomorrow, or you know, what am I going to eat for lunch. Some of you are in beta right now. As I'm talking to you, you're thinking about what I'm saying. You're saying, man, this guy is full of beans, or no, I really do believe what he's saying. Your brain is consciously making those decisions. That's beta brainwave pattern. Now, alpha brainwave pattern is not a bad pattern to necessarily be in. You have to go through these different gears of life. You can't drive your car around town in second gear. You have to use all these different brainwave patterns to navigate through life. But what's interesting is when you drink alcohol, your brain goes into alpha brainwave pattern. When you do drugs, your brain goes into alpha brainwave pattern. When you are hypnotized, your brain stays in alpha brainwave pattern. So what's happening is you're actually going from a very awake and excited place to this sort of dreamland and dream world. Now here's what's interesting. You have a left and a right side of the brain. Your left side of the brain is what compartmentalizes things. It's like putting the information in categories. It's like making decisions about everything that's coming in. The right side of your brain is very dreamy, very emotional, very artistic. And what they have found out, that when you sit down and you stare at a television, even a blinking light source, in only 20 seconds, your brain clicks from the left side of your brain into the right side of your brain. So what happens is, as information is coming into your head, you stop thinking about what's being said. And your brain is imprinting on what's actually being said, but you're not consciously thinking about it because it's bypassing the left side of your brain. Also, what's interesting is, as this switch over happens, your brain has these things called endorphins inside of them. Dopamine is released. That's why they call it the opiate of the masses. In fact, television is now becoming an actual clinical addiction. And they are saying that trying to just stop watching television is a chemical addiction. So here's kind of what's happening if we look closer at the brain. Okay? You have information that's coming in, and it's coming in so fast, and so many things. I mean, the way television is cut now, seconds after just ding, 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 ding. Your brain cannot process that much information that quickly. So what happens is it's passing it to your frontal lobe and just imprinting on it. Here's what's going on in your neurons. You have these billions and billions and billions of little connections that are making sense of everything that's going on. In between these neurons, there is synapses that fire, and in those synapses, there is dopamine being passed from receptors of one neuron to the other. What they have found out is that when you are excited, whether it be like laughter or sexually excited or anything else that comes at you from the TV, your brain releases lots more dopamine. So your system gets overflooded with an amount of dopamine, and you basically get addicted to it. Here's the problem. As your dopamine gets pushed out, your body's natural way to deal with this much dopamine is the receptors start to shut down. So all of a sudden, now you need that fix to have that same mental okay? Movies like Avatar that just came out. I don't know if any of you have ever even heard of this movie. It is one of the most popular movies that's ever been on the face of the planet, and people are walking away from the theater completely depressed. CNN has done a whole thing on, they call it the Avatar Blues, and this is what's going on. You're so excited in the movie theater that when you come out, the real world is not that exciting, and you become depressed. So, the advertising industry has studied the way that your brain works. They know exactly how it works. So they use these kind of tricks inside of the advertising world to sell you their products. They use hypnosis, they use psychology, they use all kinds of different tricks of the trade. So here's a couple examples of some commercials where they're using these different tricks. And listen to the words that are being said.
Welcome to Subliminal Advertising. Don't worry, it will only affect your brain.
In 5 seconds, your eyes widen to capture the rush of color. In 12 seconds, you begin to see detail within the details. In 23 seconds, your brain begins to question what is real. Rexa LCD TV in 1080p Full HD from Toshiba. Experience it for yourself, and in 29 seconds or less, you'll see why Rexa is the one to watch.
Okay.
A big bacon cheeseburger made fresh.
Right, but a talking gecko. Why?
I'll tell you why. Because people trust advertising icons. Some bloke tells you to go to geico.com and you're like, really? And just who might you be? But a gecko, he can be trusted.
Hey, have you heard about the crazy new way to send a message today? It's flashed on a screen, too quick to see, but still you get it subliminally.
Subliminal advertising complete.
Okay, now I want you to think about this. How many commercials have you seen where they have some sort of ding-dong tagline at the very end of the commercial? You ever seen a Taco Bell commercial? Think outside the bung, ding. What they're doing is they're bringing you in and out of a state of hypnosis and waking you up and showing you their product. Okay? Did you see the 1957 commercial or whatever? And they were saying, like, you know, subliminal advertising, you know, we flash you a frame and you get it. During that commercial, they flashed you a frame of the car, and you're supposed to, like, have gone and bought this car. They've been studying this since the dawn of television has come out. They deemed it completely illegal in 1974 and are no longer allowed to do subliminal advertising. And there's now arguments of does it work, does it not work, okay? Now, did you remember the kaleidoscope thing in the beginning? What did they say? Anybody can repeat what they said? Yeah? Yeah, interesting. This is how your brain works. Do you understand? You just watched it 2 minutes ago, but you can't recall what's said. It's because so many things are coming at you that you can't process that. You're not listening to the words, and they're just being imprinted into your brain. They said in 5 seconds, your eyes are going to widen. In 10 seconds, the color is going to bleed to the end of your peripheral, basically. In 20 seconds, you're going to start to blur between what's real and not real. And in 29 seconds or less, you're going to like our product because they just hypnotized you. Does that make sense? Okay. So, here, did you notice the little, like, Geico guy? Why we showed you that? Because laughter creates a dopamine rush inside of your brain. So what they're doing is they're chemically pushing your buttons. And if they can get you to laugh, that's why commercials are funny. When you laugh, everybody likes to laugh. So they automatically release dopamine, then they show you their product. And you associate that product with a good feeling. Now, here's a perfect example of subliminal advertising, okay? Sex sells. Have you ever heard that? Why does sex sell? Because why? You're right. Regardless of age, they don't care if you are 9 years old and above. Everybody equates sex to pleasure, whether you've had it or not. So that's why they push your sexual button a lot. Now, there's something sexual about this picture. Can you tell me what it is? Some of you see it. How many people see it? Okay, so you've seen this picture before. It says sex written right in the middle. When you take it away, you're always going to see that sex. Do they use this in real life?
We don't see the word.
You don't see the word?
No, I didn't see anything. I was like, wow.
It's right here.
Before that.
Oh, you didn't see it? Oh, yeah.
You said that I'm pure innocent.
Yeah. I would like to think so, yes, probably. But most people, even if they're not innocent, it's really hard to pick those things out. Some people can pick them out right away. It just depends. But here's an example in real life. In the 1980s, Pepsi had this on their Pepsi cans. Do you see it? Yes. Sex is written right here. How about this one? It's right here. So they use these things to sell their products all the time. Now, do they use this in real life, in normal, everyday television?